Hey, baby girls. So, I'm going to actually tell a little bit of a story about a year ago. I went to a Heat basketball game with my now boyfriend. But last night, we actually attended opening night for the Heat. They were playing against the Magic. Spoiler alert, if you didn't know this already, they actually lost. But it is what it is. I have a better story to kind of tell here when it comes to being authentic. So last night, I learned something about just being authentic, showing up, especially in those early days of dating, and how different it is on your perception versus their perception. And this entire just mini episode, we'll see how long it goes. It might end up being a full episode, is about not being your authentic self, which sounds so controversial. If you go and you're working with me one-on-one for coaching, you might be like, wait, this goes against everything with the Who Am I podcast. But I'm going to be very picky on what I mean by not being your authentic self and why it's not doing you any favors, why it will still get you where you want to go, still get your goals, but at the same time, it's going to be a different approach. So, okay, here we go. First and foremost, this is a video podcast. So if you want to see me, here I am. I rarely do video podcasts, but I felt like this is so important for this topic because I am my authentic self right now. And what I mean by authentic is my appearance. I'm not wearing any makeup. My hair, as you guys may know from like Instagram or seeing me in person, goes down to my hips. But my hair's tied up in a messy bun. I'm wearing yoga gear. I'm not bedazzled all up. I'm not wearing makeup or anything like that. So versus if you go and you look at what I was dressed up last night, I had my cute little Heat top on, my tennis skirt, my makeup was done, my hair was great, and I even had some jewelry on. So like very different from what you would say is your authentic self. That's my dressed up self. That's my presentable, quote unquote, to the world, boss baby looking self. So here we go though. I and my boyfriend were actually talking about how we went to a Heat game, and he actually took me to my first Heat game about a year ago, and how I was dressed. And he made a comment. He's like, I did not like how you were dressed. And I was shocked. Like, it would have been one of the very first dates that we went on, maybe like date 3 or 4. And I had put so much effort into looking just like amazing that night. I had this cute like peep top, and I wore some shorts with some fishnets and some long, knee-high leather boots. This is also on my Instagram if you scroll way back. But I did my makeup, I had the cat eye going, my hair was beautiful. I felt gorgeous. And I actually had some like affirmation on that because I was talking with my friend Tanya, and she actually was like, yeah, you look great. We took some pictures. Like, I was feeling myself. I felt so hot. And to go and find out that he didn't like how I looked that night was so just blew my mind. And he stated that I looked quote unquote over the top, like it was too much for like a Miami Heat game. But that wasn't the reality, because even last night I was not dressed up in any like type of way. I looked kind of like Sporting Spice, but still like cute. But I was at the Heat game. I saw the girls. They do dress up. They do look nice. They had their heels or they had their makeup done. Like, they're looking good. And I saw a lot of them. I even made a friend last night as a result. So with that, the thing is what he really didn't like was the fact that everybody was looking at me that night. And I'm talking about the first time we went to the Heat game, and how I was catching a lot of attention. And at that time, we were still like kind of in that insecure stage of not knowing if we were going to end up together or not. And I'm sure that caused some anxiety. That is what I meant whenever I was like, okay, that's not my authentic self, but it still kind of got me to where my goals is because we're together, we're happy, XYZ. Here's the thing. if you were to go and, not present yourself the best way, quote unquote possible, we may not have actually reached it to this destination. And you're going to get like all, tense based off of this and be like, he should love me for me and X, Y, and Z. Yes, he will. And he's a good guy and you guys are in it together and, right off in the sunset. But in the beginning, it's all about the looks. It's all about the visual aesthetic. Men are visual creatures. And I will say with my last ex, I did the reverse type of thing where we would date for 4 years, but in the beginning, I wasn't really that interested. So I wasn't dressing up. I wasn't, trying. I didn't wear makeup on dates and like I would show up in like a t-shirt and shorts. And that worked for that relationship, but I wasn't actually like fully vested into that. Versus like my current boyfriend, there was this kind of like teasing back and forth, we're both in like the same type of quote unquote push and pull league type of thing. So being authentic. A lot of us are like, okay, what does that even mean? Being authentic, by definition, or to raise your frequency, if you want to learn about this on the Who Am I podcast, means that your beliefs, your mind, your heart, I pointed to both my heart and my mind just now, correlates to what you're saying, what you're doing. That is what being authentic is. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with how you present yourself or what you look like. In fact, it has nothing to do with it. You can be completely authentic and be dressed like a bum, or be completely authentic and be dressed, like a dime piece. But if you want to catch, that man's attention, which one are you going to be with? Like, he's going to be attracted to the woman that is put together, the woman that looks very feminine, especially the healthy masculine. He wants to see the feminine come out. He wants to nurture, take care of, provide, protect, XYZ. So Black Cat energy, because again, this is all about Black Cat energy, is harnessing that mystique, that feminine ambiance. And in this case, it could be a little bit of your sensuality or your sexuality. So being authentic, you could be somebody that, loves to talk and loves to share everything and loves to just be all warm and bubbly. That's actually my probably default personality whenever I actually open up to somebody, versus in the beginning stages, especially, you need to have that kind of mystique, glamour, think old Hollywood even, or bohemian goddess type of energy. That is where you're creating this air of mystery. And the Black Cat, by definition, is intriguing based off of the mystery, based off of like the exclusiveness. Because that got brought up last night as well, is I was in this huge stadium, right? Like the Miami Heat stadium. I think it's called Caseta. I'll have to figure that out. But I know it starts with a K. Like, so many people there. And I don't have to go into a place searching for people. The Black Cat doesn't go looking for friends. What naturally happens is if you go into a space like this, if you're really harnessing the Black Cat energy, you can stand still, not talk to anybody. Just, stand still, confident, calm, XYZ, and people will come and talk to you. I know that when we were standing in line for a pretzel, because I love pretzels, and then also when he needed to go use the restroom, that I was left alone for a moment. And in both instances, I actually, I would say probably the restroom more than the other one, but when I was alone is when people gravitated towards me. And particularly the friend I made last night, she was, very beautiful, and she was with her boyfriend there too. We just kind of stood together, and, we equally were like, you look good, I look good, we're happy. And I thought the exchange was over, right? It lasted like maybe a minute or two. But later on, she actually saw me again, came across to come in and be like, hey, can I catch your Instagram? And that is the black cat energy, is I didn't have to go chase anything. I didn't have to go, oh, I need to go make friends. I need to go make friends and XYZ. That attraction comes back, and it works with both females and males. So even if you're a guy listening to this podcast, this can really work for you. But being authentic is when she did come up to me, like I was nice, I was warm, I was who was I like to present myself as. I wasn't trying to upstage. I wasn't trying to be like, I am better than thou. I wasn't trying to put distance in between the exchange. But my aesthetics weren't, quote unquote, what somebody would say is natural. And that's where we get confused, is being natural and being authentic are not the same thing. I am right now very natural looking, like, again, not wearing makeup, hair's tied back, yoga clothes. I didn't, go all out to be recorded on this podcast. But I'm also going to say is like, am I really being authentic? Because at the end of the day, most of the time my hair is down. That is my authentic type of look versus my natural look technically could be either or. My natural personality and my authentic personality, well, naturally, I'm pretty introverted. I like spending some time alone. In fact, I spend most of my time alone versus my authentic self. Like, I could show up around people or not show up around people and still be happy, settled, calm. Like, I get a little bit nervous whenever a lot of people are around. Like last night, I was like, there's a ton of people. And I've just not been around that many people in a really long time. So the difference is here is just because you're natural doesn't mean you're being authentic, because authentic goes back to your mind, your beliefs, your heart, matching your projection, what you're saying, what you're doing. Being natural may not be your authentic self. Being natural may be very foreign to you or actually disgenuine. If you're someone that loves to, decorate with makeup and give like the amazing cool eyes, like, I'll be honest with you, when I sit with a makeup artist and she does my makeup, like, I get amazed at just the creations that she's able to create or he's able to create. Like, that could be your authentic self, but that technically isn't your natural self. Same thing whenever my hair is curled. Like, that could be a projection of how I feel on the inside, like that kind of girlish, princess curls. But my natural hair is kind of wavy and mostly straight. So that type of breaking apart in your mind of like, well, if I'm being authentic and I look authentic, I'm doing my best self, he should love me for me. Like, your authentic self is defined by yourself. We're talking about natural beauty. And if you want to get into natural beauty, then we can do an entire show about how to take care of your hair and your skin and your like body weight and just like health overall. That's a whole different topic. But being authentic, it could or could not be actually helping you towards your goals. If you want to catch, a man's attention, you got to look like a woman, unless, you, for whatever reason, have found a man that just really doesn't care about looks. I have known plenty of men in my day, my brothers, my family, friends, relationships, whatever. They all talk about appearance. They all talk about how hot she was, or, she looked fire, whatever. And then once they have the interest, they get to know the woman behind the makeup or the clothes or the hair, whatever. So stop doing yourself this disfavor. It's not helping you out. It's not getting you any closer to your goals. And learn the differences between being authentic and being natural, and where do you actually want to go when it comes to being that black cat energy and attracting the type of people or the type of man that you want in your life?